I'm going to begin this review with the trigger warning. This movie that I'm about to talk about is pretty extreme. It is a very lesser known Korean film, a very dark, disturbing film. So trigger warning for eating disorders and sexual assault. So the movie that I'm going to be talking about is a MovieFiendz Favourite that I've just graduated to them. Is Beautiful. 2008 Korean film. It is based off of a story by ki-duk, but he didn't write it. It was a Junji Ito sort of collaborator. I think he worked with ki-duk on other projects, so ki-duk gave him a story and he wrote this screenplay. It is about An-young. She is a woman cursed with terrible beauty to the point where people on the street try to flirt with her. Every man tries to flirt with her. Every woman compliments her, asks her if she's an actress or she's a model. They want to be her or be with her, basically, and it becomes really bothersome because she sort of keeps people at a distance. You know, she's not really sure what they're after. She only has like one friend, really, and that friend, her boyfriend, is all over her. So she's, you know, basically has trouble trusting people. However, she keeps getting flowers sent to her condo apartment, and one day one of her admirers, a stalker, attacks her in her house and sexually assaults her, and leaves his ID and turns himself in to make it a whole big thing. So the police, they show up, they question her, they lock up the guy. You know, he's all over her, and the very unsympathetic police detective, you know, he's like one of those, you know, he's not very sympathetic, and he's a bit of a jerk. And she does, there's another police officer who seems to be an ally of sorts. You know, he cuts off the interrogation when things are getting too rough. He looks out for her, you know, so she's a wreck emotionally. And the reason why this movie is so extreme and disturbing is I recently recommended it to a friend of mine who likes Korean cinema, and when he watched it, he described it as a real-life Junji Ito horror story, and I have to agree. The movie does have body transformation and obsession as major themes, which is kind of something that Junji Ito does in a lot of his short stories and manga stories. So this one has An-young decide to gain weight because she saw a fat girl at a park, and so she starts trying to like eat as much as she can to gain weight. However, something goes wrong, and then she tries to lose weight in order to become like so thin and anorexic. However, it causes a sort of problems with her body, and she can't keep food down at all. So it ends up, even when she's trying to like recover and eat again, it starts messing with her to the point where the police officer starts getting he starts following her around to keep an eye on her, but he ends up getting obsessed with her, and it leads to a very violent conclusion. So the reason why Beautiful, I graduated it to a favorite of mine is because when I watched it back in 2000, I think I watched it like a decade ago or so, it was just like, it was a really shocking film. And it still is. It's still relevant to this day. Socially relevant. Beauty standards is a very big thing in Korea. Korea does a lot of plastic surgery. It's more culturally acceptable over there. People do it all the time. And this movie kind of dabbles in that a little bit, but also body image issues, something that people still grapple with today. But also the way the people treat her. It's obviously an extreme version, you know, where she basically only has one friend and everyone else is trying to like get with her. But also, you know, that happens to people. There are people out there that are just, you know, blessed with beauty genetics, and they have a hard time, you know, having a real support system. You know, if An-young had her parents around, or you know, a brother or something, the movie might have been, you know, very different. But she's very alone. It's very crippling. The themes are very apparent, and the movie is very disturbing. Even after the events of the movie end, that last lingering shot just perfectly encapsulates the entire theme of the movie, and it'll just sit in your stomach like a stone, haunting you forever. This movie is not a horror film. It is I would consider it a drama, and maybe yeah, it's really just a drama with a lot of disturbing themes and content. It's not really a horror movie, but it does go in those weird obsessive directions. So it sort of has so many disturbing elements that can almost be described as like a modern day sort of drama horror. You know, like the society is the real horror. And that's just really unique for one thing. And I only watched it because ki-duk wrote the story and I wanted to check it out, but the writer did a really good job with this story. It is a very disturbing, Memorable film, really good acting. You know, lesser known film. Came out in 2008. It just, you know, didn't really. Some people walked out in the theaters, I think. But overall, Beautiful is one of those haunting, memorable films that will sit with you forever if you ever give it a chance and you find it. So that is why Beautiful, 2008 film, is a Movie Fiend's favorite.